Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Starting this week, we are going to begin the 4th chapter in Bhagwad Gita. Until last week, we have been enjoying 3rd chapter, where Krishna was outlining the various aspects of Karma Yoga. In this new chapter, he is going to reveal a secret. This is so unique, and he himself points out to this secret. And he also goes a step above and promises that whoever who listens to this secret will definitely be assured of enlightenment, will definitely be bestowed with the grace of Vaikuntha. Let's see what leads to the secret and what is that secret itself. Time is there, then we will get to the secret today. If not, we will see next week. Let's see the introduction of this chapter. Let me share my screen. Okay, let's start with first verse, 4th chapter. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manurikshvakave Bravit. When in this world, when any ideas are being proposed, people always ask one question: where did you take the reference from? Where did you hear that from? Is it a trustworthy source? Because I don't want to be hearing about some rumors. We don't want to be exposed to some unreliable data. So we'll always be interested in asking others as to who told you. Right? That is why authority or authenticity of information is very important. Now, Krishna is also following that practice. It's not that Arjuna is doubting Krishna about whatever advice that he is giving. Arjuna has a lot of devotion in Krishna. He knows all the powers of Krishna and how he has exposed those powers when he lived in Vrindavan and all. It can be lifting of the Govardhan hills or Agasura, Bakasura, defeating all those asuras. Arjuna knew very much the powers of Krishna, but still Krishna cannot assume anything, that whatever I advise you is 100% trustworthy. Still, Krishna has a responsibility himself to prove to Arjuna that whatever that I am advising you is not anything that I am creating. It is not that I give you an advice to push you into the path of war. I'm not intending to give you an advice with an idea of incorrectness, or with an idea of just extempore on the spot. I got this new yoga, the karma yoga, and so just you do it. He can still do it because Krishna has all those knowledge. He can on the spot create ideas and give advice, Arjuna, but still he didn't do it. In this shloka, Krishna mentions, not just mentions, Krishna brings a reference that I am not creating anything new. Spiritual knowledge is not anything new. It always existed and it will not be new. It will be the old formula. People will be explaining it in different ways. But the scheme of things, karma yoga, was always there. It always existed. There is nothing new about it, Arjuna. I'm not creating the karma yoga or the jnana yoga just because we are in this battlefield and you asked me for advice. Long time ago, I advised Vivaswan. Long years ago, I gave this very yoga, this practice, the karma yoga, to Vivaswan. Vivaswan is none other than Surya Deva. Sun god is otherwise called as Vivaswan. So here he says, Imam Vivasvate Yogam. Imam, this yogam, this yoga, Vivasvate, to Vivaswan. I Proktavan, I advised, I preached this yoga to Vivaswan. Aham avyayam, aham, he says that I did that to Vivaswan. Avyayam, everlasting knowledge of the karma yoga. This is not just created recently. It is not extempore. It is everlasting. It is eternal knowledge called the karma yoga. And I advised Vivaswan. Vivaswan made. So Krishna must have existed long time ago, because Surya Dev, we all know, Surya would have been created when this universe was created. So that means Krishna is now spilling out a fact that I advised this to Surya Dev. That means he should have been there at that time of creation of this universe. And then next he says, Vivasvan manave praha. And Vivaswan, Surya Dev, in turn passed this knowledge on to Manu. Manave praha. He advised Manu. Manur ikshvakave bravid. Manu in turn passed this on to Ikshvaku. So this is more of a disciplic succession. The knowledge is being passed from one person to other person to other person to other person to other person. And that is how this knowledge flowed. It is not created on the spot just for you. So it is very important that, anything that even if you read some articles in the internet, published articles, they will always have some references where I took this information from. That's called attribution. You'll have to attribute whatever that we say, that I took this from this reference. I'm speaking this based on this authority. Knowledge cannot be anything that happens within ourselves. Knowledge always is inside of us, but that has to be based on a reference. Anything and everything that happens within ourselves cannot be knowledge. That should have been already established. So now that is what here Krishna clearly brings a reference to his own argument. The court of law, if two attorneys are advocating, one for and the other one against, they will have to produce precedents. They must mention that in a case that happened 2 years ago, XYZ versus this point was mentioned in this way, and they will have to produce that to the judge. That is when it makes more authentic. If the attorney, just because he knows things, if he argues whatever he thinks is right, that is not going to be accepted. So now Krishna here puts up some references saying that this knowledge was earlier on passed by me on to the Surya Dev. Later on, he passed on to Manu. Manu is none other than, Manu is one of the earliest humans. The first one ever who was created by Brahma. Brahma created the humanity, and when Brahma first created Manu, Manu was well known, Manu was very well worshipped, and he wrote Dharma Shastra for human beings. Manu is known for it. And Manu is not just one. Manu is more like a dynasty. There were various Manus that existed. And Vaivasvata Manu was what he is referring to here. Because Vivaswan, and immediately after Vivaswan, that Manu. And later on also, they used to rule few 100,000 years. And then another Manu will be there, and he will rule for next 100,000 years. And then the next Manu, he will rule for 100,000 years. And so on it goes. But the first Manu ever is what is being referred here. Kritayukam, Tretayukam, Dwaparayukam, Kaliyukam, right? These 4 yugams span across around 40 lakh years. And this based on the estimation that what he is mentioning, 28 multiplied by 40 lakh years. We should just go back in time so back. At that time, Krishna has advised Surya Dev. At that time, Surya Dev has in turn advised Manu, that Manu who existed at that time. So now, this knowledge of the Karma Yoga is that old, is what now Krishna is trying to drive the point, which he is mentioning it in this shloka. Now, Arjuna has, Krishna isn't done yet. He goes on to the next verse. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Arjuna, this I did long ago. And after that, it was passed on like a parampara praptam. Parampara is the generation after generation. This knowledge had been passed on. And during those times, Rajarshayo Viduhu. Rajarshayo means Raja Rishis. The kings were actually following this. Even though they were ruling the kingdom, they were also practicing the Karma Yoga. They are called Raja Rishi. one hand, they were rajas, they were the kings, and on the other hand, they were rishis. They practiced the karma yoga, because it's very important not just to get the knowledge, we should practice it. And as why he picked up Raja Rishi as the example here, because Raja, the king's job is not that easy. The king has much more responsibilities than a normal person, a citizen who is living in the country. Right? The citizen in a country has a responsibility which is like, at the most, he will have to take care of himself and his dependents. The king has a much wider, larger responsibility in that he has to make sure that the country is well fed internally, and from externally there are no enemies that are attacking the country. So he has to protect the citizens of the country from natural disasters as well as man-made disasters, from internal, providing the essentials to employment, to happiness, to everything that the people need. And when he is discharging those duties, he has to have a detachment while he is discharging. He cannot be biased. He cannot be emotionally attached with one section of people and not having any attachment towards others. So it has to be uniform. It has to be balanced. A king's job is not that easy, because a normal man, a normal human being, when he is running his or her family, can have all these emotional imbalances and then can act or react and fix things as it happens, and then realize, oh, I should not have done this way, that way, go back and forth. They are undoable. But for a king, he cannot undo many actions that he does. So he should be well equipped in discharging his duties. And how can one attain? So he better be a yogi, or the king has to be a yogi or a rishi with a balanced, equipoised mind when delivering or discharging his duties. And that has happened all along using the practice of the karma yoga. And now that knowledge is what we all are now learning. Arjuna learned it from Krishna. And before that, the kings learned it from the previous kings, and so on. Generation after generation, they passed that precious knowledge of karma yoga to the next generation. And people who received it, they received it with absolute attention, sincerity, and devotion, with the only mindset, with the only attitude of practicing it. They don't want to deviate from it, because they know that deviating from the karma yoga means inviting disaster to their life, into their lives. That's why they sincerely learned and practiced this yoga, and they derived maximum benefit. So in this shloka, Krishna adds the next line. He says, Sakale neha, due to passage of time. Mahata yoga, this great yoga, nashtaha parantapa, it's been lost, forgotten, decayed. People slowly started moving away, or they are not that much sincere in practicing the karma yoga, and so the form of yoga itself was forgotten, and so you are not aware of it. This is what is driving the point now, because Arjuna will next ask, if It was passed on from generation to generation. Why I didn't get anything from my guru or from my parents? Now that question is being answered here, that sakale neha, due to the passage of time, nashtaha, it's been lost. That's what he is saying here in this shloka. And then let's move on to the next verse, where he's going to say, third verse, chapter 4. Sa evayam maya tedya yogah proktah puratanah bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam yetaduttamam. Adya maya te adya. Today, now Krishna is saying, today, this yoga, which is one of the oldest ancient knowledge, I am passing it on to you. I'm passing this on to you today. Because he can ask, now Arjuna raised his eyebrows as if like we should visualize it. Why is he, what is the reason behind this verse? Arjuna raised his eyebrow that, okay, then you have advised this yoga to great men like Vivaswan or Manu, and Manu in turn passed on to later, the kings. Why did you choose me now? Because those men are all great, and I don't seem to be qualified. Or do you think that I am qualified to receive this knowledge? That is a question. Now Krishna answers it by mentioning this shloka, where today I gave this knowledge to you because you are my devotee. And not only just that, you are my friend. Me sakha, you are my friend. Bhaktosi, you are my devotee also. Rahasyam etaduttamam. Uttamam, the supreme. Rahasyam, secret, I reveal to you. So what now Krishna is now saying that because once a knowledge or any highest level of information should not just be wasted. Secret should never be publicized to people who may or may not know the value of it. Highest knowledge will always be given by our gurus and our acharyas only to those people who they know that the knowledge will be put to best use. It will not be ignored. The knowledge will not be ignored. The knowledge will not be abused also. If they ever know about the students who didn't qualify to receive the knowledge, they will not reveal it. It is not a broadcast. It is not a broadcast where it is announced to everyone. Because if someone is not eligible yet to receive that knowledge, then it is not going to help that person, and the person may misinterpret it and may be harmful to that person. Secrets That is why they held closely. But if someone is very much interested and they approached the Guru intently with the sole purpose of knowing the secret, then and that too, it's not immediate again. The truthfulness in knowing the answer should be sincere. A Guru will always do the test to make sure that this person is really yearning, then reveal the secret, not otherwise. So now his devotion is there. That is what the Guru will first test. Is this person having devotion towards the knowledge that he wanted to learn? Is he having trust? Is he passionate about learning? And will this person make you, after learning, appreciate the knowledge? That is the important thing that they will verify before offering the knowledge. Now Krishna is now revealing that I told this yoga to you because you are my devotee. And I understand your devotion towards me. And I believe that you should know about it. You are my friend as well. There are different forms of bhakti. Prahlada has mentioned about Navavida Bhakti. Right? 9 forms of bhakti he had mentioned. Either you can be a person who just worships God by meditating, by uttering the names of Vishnu. That is one way. Or you can offer flowers or anything. And then that is another form of devotion. Or it can be listening to the stories and pastimes and just to be involved in that, just like Rukmini, who Krishna married. Rukmini just enjoyed listening to the stories of Krishna and she was just in that devotion. There are Mirabai, who was also known for devotion towards Krishna, dedicated herself. Tyagaraja. They all are known for musically worshipping, singing the hymns of Krishna or Rama or Vishnu, or worshipping can also mean straining oneself physically. I will do this. Sacrifices, something like the vratas that people undergo. Penance that we are willing to take, that is another worship. So based on all these devotions, that is when we will be prepare ourselves to receive that the knowledge. Now once we train our body and mind, all these are but preparations, right? This Ekadashi, Vratam, or Vaikuntha Ekadasi, or observing, or people used to take walks. They used to walk 100 miles, 50 miles to temple. Why do you think that they are doing it? It's not that, just to capture a picture of you, top of the mountain, say that, and then post it in Instagram, saying that I walked 100 miles, and to get likes from friends. It is to prepare ourselves mentally and physically to receive the knowledge that is due. We are all surrounded by a lot of darkness in terms of ignorance. Many things we do not know around us, about us, but we are interested more in learning about outside world. So when is that ignorance going to go away? Only when we prepare ourselves, be ready for the knowledge. And that knowledge can happen. That knowledge can be not necessarily in terms of intelligence. That knowledge can be bhakti itself is a absolute knowledge. Devotion to God itself is absolute knowledge. No one need to be knowing about themselves, about the Atman. Meera or any of the Kabir Das, Sur Das, there are many examples. They all do not even know about the difference between body, Atman, mind, intellect, Indriyas, but all they knew was only one thing. Their mind is not attached to anything else but to only one thing, which is Krishna. That is the only thing they know. They sleep or eat or they walk or sit or do any action, they cannot actually think about anything else. That is the absolute knowledge. Now, we are all not there yet. And we are all making attempts to see if we can just get that passion within us. Probably we will just we will do part-time devotion. That's what we all are doing. We will just spend some few minutes doing meditation, few minutes doing puja, few minutes reciting some shlokas, Vishnu Sahasranama, this, that. And then we will just see what is the prasad. What can I eat today? Right? Our mind naturally goes towards that. Because we think like we have done with our devotion today. I'm done 2 hours of learning. I'm done today. What is next? And if someone asks you, are you practicing this spirituality? Yeah, 2 hours, I used to say. That is how we all are. That is not, that is our time should just go. We should not even realize that passage of time, right? 6 hours, people should pull us out. You should eat. What are you doing? Okay, fine. I don't feel like eating still, but if that makes you happy, I will eat. Until then, we haven't gotten to the level where we are spiritually matured or spiritually advanced. Until then, we all are locked up in our desires in the external world, as long as we are part-time involving in devotion. When can we just pull ourselves from the external world and go within ourselves? Our days, our minutes together, hours together, days together. Dhruva, we heard about the story of Dhruva, where his stepmother asked him to go and then pray to Vishnu so that he can be born to me, so that you can sit on your father's lap. Now you are born to my stepsister. You cannot sit on your dad's lap. Then that Dhruva went on to go do meditation on Sri Mahavishnu, where he hardly ate anything. Days together, he was just sitting there, eating, just breathing, eating his own breath. Oxygen was his only food. And still he just enjoyed reciting the mantra of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? So that is the devotion. That is a level of devotion that is expected to receive secrets or knowledge or divinity within ourselves. So we must think about it for a little bit and then see where we are and what we can do about it. That is the reason for this verse where he says that you, Arjuna, on the other hand, are devoted to me and you are my friend. So treating God as a friend, there are many examples for that. Alvars, the many Alvars who just treated as multiple, not just as a friend. Many Alvars, they used to treat themselves as Nayaki, meaning heroine, and Krishna himself as Nayaka, hero. And they used to think like, you're my husband. That is their imagination. That is their level of, when we think about it, we will think that what is he doing? Has he gone mad, crazy? What kind of, that is how we think. But they literally have gone mad. But that is the blissful madness. They have slipped into a blissful madness that they enjoy that state. I'm not saying that we all should go down that route. Everyone is destined to have their own journey, but we should discover our own journey. The discovery is important. This or that, what is, where do I fit in? What is destined for me? That ask is what we all can do. Answer, we cannot, we don't know. Answer will happen. That is, Sri Mahavishnu will give the answer. Now, since Arjuna asked all the questions, Lupta Pindo Takagriyaha, if I happen to kill all these people here, then they all will be dead. And people who are their descendants will not be able to do the rituals. And if they are not doing the rituals, then they all will be stuck there. And so I do not want to do this papa karma, this adharma. And then he said, you be my guru and advise me what is the right thing to do. I'm stuck here. That is the knowledge. Arjuna expressed well that I wanted to learn. I do not know what it is. The desperation was there with Arjuna. So now that is the reason that now Krishna here admits that you had the right yearning for knowledge. And so I'm giving it to you. That is the most thing. We do not have to be smart. We do not have to be knowledgeable. We do not have to be even devoted. But asking that what is it? What is beyond what I am doing right now? Is this life all about just whatever I am doing right now? Or is there anything more to it? What if there is a state that I am missing? That is the ask. That is the ask that everyone should research within oneself to get the answer. It's maybe there a little bit for a few of us. You'll just ask, is this all about life? Oh no. Every day starts and then we just go do this, but okay, maybe this is what it is. And that is how few people will be happy with their own, they will ask the question, but they get their own answers and they'll be happy with it. Or few people will say that I get the question, but I don't understand. I don't understand what it is, but intensifying that question is what is the next level. Then answers will follow. We don't know where, from whom, how, that is not our concern. Answers will reach us. Then we will be able to figure out why things happen the way that it happens in our life. We will be able to link them all together. No one would ever be able to master the complexities of life. There is no one in this world who is existing who can ever claim that I have mastered it all. Life is a mystery. Life is definitely a mystery. It will be a mystery unless even after enlightenment also. It is only not a mystery only to him. Rest of the Atmas, it is always a mystery. But what is our true destination? Right? That is what we are interested in. We don't have to understand all the mysteries around us or all the mysteries of this universe. That is not our scope also. That is not our expectation also. But mystery around us, we can start asking the question. And so he says that Bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. This is the supreme secret. I'm revealing it to you. Let's move on to the next one. So let's see what is that secret that he is talking about. Okay. Fourth verse. He hasn't yet started. Arjuna is now asking the question. Arjuna uvacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvatah katam etat vijaniyam tvamadau proktavaniti. Aparam is later. Bhavato, your janma, your birth. So now Arjuna is asking, your birth is later. It happened quite recently. Param janma vivasvatah. Param is old, purva. Long time ago, Vivaswan's birth happened. Surya Dev was born long time ago. Krishna, when the universe was created, he must have been born. Now, katham etat vijaniyam. How can I put them all together and understand this? It doesn't add up, we used to say, right? You were just born now. Surya Dev had been there long time ago, and he might have been born long time ago, which is 40 lakhs multiplied by 28. 28 Chatur Yugas ago. One Chatur Yuga is 40 lakh years. So 28 multiplied by 40 lakh years back, you were not there, or you were there, or you were not there. It doesn't add up. How can I? Katham etat vijaniyam. How? He's explicitly putting the question. How can I make sense of all these things? Whatever that you are saying. It's not that I don't trust you, but explain me. Tvam, you, Adau, at first, how did you explain to him? Is what the question is. Now, this question, just because Arjuna is asking, doesn't mean that he doesn't trust Krishna, right? We will ask him, come on, you are just 25 years old or 50 years old, and Earth has been there for so long. Surya Deva has been there so long. How can you possibly could have advised Surya Deva? That is not the meaning here. He knew about it. He knows very well about Krishna's prowess and all. And also here the question could have been also more like, you might have been born and there are multiple births. Or I don't understand, do people have multiple births? And if people have multiple births, I understand the Atma is there. You explained to me the Atma transmigrates from one body to other body to other body to other body to other body. Probably you are now here being transmigrated from that to this. But if you had lived in that birth, how can you remember the thing that had happened so long ago? I don't seem to remember my last birth. My previous birth, I don't remember anything around it. But you seem to be remembering it, and in a previous birth that had happened to you, you were able to recollect. And I'm not able to do it. So what is the difference between you and me? I know that you are great and you are skillful, much brave and a great warrior than me. But still, I don't understand this. I'm not remembering and you are able to remember it. That is one. And is it just you who are remembering it, or anyone can remember it? Or do you have any special secret behind you that makes you remember it? Is the question. So he has a lot of things in his mind. He wanted to know the secret behind Krishna's powers. How can you do it? That is what Krishna now is going to reveal as a secret to Arjuna. He says that whoever who listens to this secret in a later shloka, what will happen to them and all. But here he reveals the secret to his birth itself. How am I born? Going to be, he's going to answer in the next shloka. How am I born? How are you born? And what happens? But before that, Arjuna asked this question, the right question, that it doesn't seem. He didn't yet, even though he knew that Krishna is superior to him, he wanted to know the details as to how you got that superiority and what influence you have on other atmas like us. Because now Krishna just had explained about the difference between this body and this atma, and why this atma and this body are going through the various stages as they do. And why are we, the humans, are more body oriented than atma oriented? How can we free ourselves from this body? All those things he explained, but he didn't tell yet what is this atma, how is this atma different from your atma. That is the one that we have to learn now. We learned all about the body and the atman. Now the atman and the paramatman, that is what we have to learn. That is why is also indirectly Arjuna is asking the right thing. How are you different? Are you different from my atma, or you are just like my atma? That is why now let's see the next verse as to what Krishna is going to say, which will be the answer to Arjuna's question. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vedha parantapa. Bahuni, many. In fact, Bahuni ends with many also. Bahuni is many. Janmani, births. Me, I. Vyatitani, to me, or me, to me. Vyatitani, have passed. To me, many births or janma have passed. Tavacha Arjuna, to you also, Arjuna. Not just to me. To you also, many births have passed. Janmas have passed. Tanyaham Veda Sarvani. Those births, I know about my many births. And I also know about your births, many births. He could have just stopped there. I know about many of my previous births. I know about many of your previous births. He should have just stopped there. He added one more. Natvam vedha parantapa. And you do not know about your many births, nor do you know about my many births. So that is the difference here. The difference is between a Jivatma and Paramatma, like Krishna, is that an Atma like us know only about this birth, and we remember, we have the ability to remember about this birth. Like, for example, anytime you wake me up and ask me, I can tell exactly in this birth to whom I was born, how I was, how I lived my life in this birth, and what is the journey in this birth, and what I am doing right now. My memory works very well. But if you ask me previous birth, erased. I do not have any data about that. I draw a blank. But that is how humans are all. But that is not the case with the Paramatma. If a Paramatma is born on this earth, the Supreme Personality is born on this earth, like Rama or Krishna, he remembers, he knows about the previous births of not only him, but everyone around him. That is what he says. Bahuni me vyatitani. Many, many births have passed to me. And we generally used to think that 10 avatars. Whenever we say Vishnu, we always say that 10 avatars are there, not more than that, right? That is the first incorrect thing. Here, he didn't say that 10 avatars I took. He could have easily said, I have taken 8 avatars. This is my 9th avatar. Krishna is what is speaking, right? He could have said 8 avatars. He didn't say that. Many, many. So even we know about it. We saw that, right? Kapila is one avatar. Vedavyas himself is an avatar. Right? Many, 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 many avatars. But you, on the other hand, also are along with me. You took many avatars too. Just that you are not aware of it, but I am aware of it. So that is the first number one difference between normal human Atma versus Paramatma. This is a basic difference. And when he is born, when Krishna is born, people will think that he is a normal person. He did all the there are actually 2 questions will come. When God takes an avatar and he is born on earth, will he attract any papams and punyams, just like us? Because we all are born on this earth for only one thing, to get rid of our good karma and bad karma. If an Atma gets rid of its good karma and bad karma, both are not there, then, but still the karma will be there. He'll be doing the actions, but without attachment, right? That is what the making no good karma, no bad karma is. Do actions, but there is no attachment. A person or an Atma reaches that stage, then that person is enlightened and he will never return to this earth. He or she will never be born on this earth, right? We all are born again and again on this earth because we have accumulated good karma and bad karma. And before our birth, if that good karma is good or bad karma is good, then we take another birth in order to use up those good karma and bad karma. If we have done a lot of good karma, we might be born as a prince or a princess, and we will be enjoying good life, but still it is a good karma as a lot. So until that is done, we will be born as a prince or princess. But once that good karma is gone, all gone, let's say, it can be gone in this birth itself. Halfway through, when that prince or princess reaches the age of 30, all the good karma is gone, then they will be on the street. Literally, we are witnessing that happen in this world, right? They just don't have any more money. They used to enjoy great life before. Likewise, it is also true, or that person might have done enormous amount of good karma that birth after birth they will be born as prince or princess until they are done with exhausted with all their good karma. Bank account balance, right? So credit and debit. But if on the other hand, if the person has accumulated a lot of bad actions, impressions, basically in our mind, what is the impressions that we have accumulated? If those impressions are the good karma and the bad karma, as per that impressions are manifesting as actions, right? But what is more is that impressions that are staying with us. If those impressions are bad impressions, that can mean hurting others, or right, it doesn't have to be through action. For example, I don't have to hurt others physically, but if I have that thought of hurting others, then I already created an impression in my mind. That is just enough to be born again to pay the dues for it, right? So if a person has enough amount of bad karma, meaning not necessarily in terms of papam punyam. We have to redefine that. Papams and punyams, not physically doing, and thoughts. What thoughts we have hold in our mind define the good karma and bad karma. If our thoughts are drowning us, then a lot of bad karma we have accumulated. That is why we have to. It's in our control. We can now say that I don't want to go down this drain hole where it is just bringing me down. Let me cheer myself up, bring it to a balance. Then we are overcoming that bad karma, effect of bad karma. If our thoughts are driving us towards doing some harm to others, let's say, and we justify those actions to ourselves, saying that last time she or he did that, so this time I will definitely do that. I'm perfectly right what I'm doing. I'm not even going to think about it because I want to protect myself. Something we will one reason or the other, we will justify ourselves in doing the wrong, in entertaining those wrong thoughts in our mind. Right? It is nothing to do with, there is nothing like, okay, record. Okay, last year around 11:30, this person I hurt, and that is the papam. No such thing like that, but the impression of hurting that person is still with us. It hasn't gone anywhere. And no one is the Chitragupta we used to hear. He may keep track of it, we don't know that. But all those Chitragupta is right inside us. They are keeping track of it. Right inside our deep, deep subconscious part of the mind, those vasanas are still there. Then that is the bad karma and good karma. So now those bad karma and good karma will make us be born again and again, and will make doing more and more bad and good things. Good things also is an enemy, because the more good thing is like, at least instead of doing bad things, we can keep doing good things, right? Good impressions, where I need to help them, do them, right? I helped them. That thought is again, it's a good thing. I wanted to help them, but I hold the impression in my mind that I am the one who is helping. No one else is helping. I gave $50,000. I am the one who gave 50,000. Even though that is a good act, but I have that I feeling. So that is the one that is again wrong with good, doing good also. That is why detached work. Neither am I doing, nor others are doing. It is everyone who is directing me to do it, and I'm just a mere executor. That thought is there, then that is zero good karma, zero bad karma. So now Arjuna here asking like, what is it that when Krishna, you are born on this earth, are you also born to get rid of the bad karmas and good karmas? We are all born here to get rid of the karmas that we have accumulated. That is why here says that he's going to say, I am not born to get rid of my good or bad karmas, but I am born out of my own free will. I decide to be born, I'll be born, not out of the necessities. Whereas you all are born out of necessity to fulfill the karmic balance. Until you balance them to zero, you keep on being born. But for me, I'm just born out of free will. That is the reason that I remember all the birds and you are not remembering it. There are more to it. We will see next week. For now, we will just stop here. Sriyah Kantaya Kalyana Nidhaye Nidayettinam Sri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu.